Hi everybody, welcome to another daily Devo. We have transitioned out of the book of Romans and into the book of 1 Corinthians, and we are in 1 Corinthians chapter 1 verses 10 through 17. It's a tiny little section of this chapter, just 7 verses, but it talks about a pretty big subject. The header in my Bible is divisions in the church. And when you hear that, you're like, oh, what are we going to say? It's dividing the church. That's a huge topic to some people. But how I took this was, who are we following? Are we following people? Or are we following God? And I really took some time to think about, who am I following when it comes to conflict? Specifically when it comes to the church, there's a lot of little topics, little things that people can disagree about, but that doesn't mean that we divide. Is Christ divided? Paul asks that in this little section. He actually says, he says this, verse 13, is Christ divided? Well, no. Christ isn't divided. He's unified, and he calls us to be unified. And when I ask the question who we're following, Paul specifically addresses the Corinthian church in that different people had favorite preachers. Apollo, Paul, Peter. Are we following our pastor, or are we supposed to follow Jesus? Jesus Christ is our Savior, and he's the Lord of all. So with Christ being Lord of all, Paul is basically emphasizing that God didn't send Paul to replace Jesus. He sent Paul to be the hands and feet of Jesus. And so when we focus on all the little things that could divide, we get distracted by who set up the church. The church is Jesus. We are the church. Little things shouldn't matter. Paul says in verse 17, he says, "For Christ did not send me to baptize, but to preach the gospel, not with words of human wisdom, lest the power of Christ be empty of its power." Now, he's not demeaning baptism here and lessening its importance, because baptism is amazing. It's a life-changing opportunity for people. Basically, what he's saying is that we still need to, in the midst of, as a church, we still need to share the gospel of Christ, because that's who we follow ultimately. Jesus is who we follow. So my challenge to you guys, who do you follow? Do you follow the media, or do you follow Christ? Do you follow your pastor solely, or do you follow Jesus as your number one for guidance? Think about that this week. Thanks for joining me, guys.